Hello. Hi, guys. Let's see. We have a guest. Charity, can you hear me? I. Charity, can you hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Hi, Charity. Could you hear
Okay.
me?
I could hear you. I was talking to you.
Okay, it's hi. I'm Topanga. Hi, guys. Welcome to What's Going On with Swagger Magazine. I am their newest media correspondent. I'm Topanga. How you doing, Charity J?
I'm pretty awesome. How are you, Topanga?
I am awesome. First of all, not only did I do my proper research on you, but I did cyber stalk you just a tiny, tiny bit. You
Oh
have
man,
everything, you have everything locked and sealed, so I couldn't get too much.
I do. I
I
do.
I couldn't get as much as I wanted, but I did find out something very, very important about you.
Mm.
I found out that you're the hug extraordinaire.
Oh, you did a deep, deep dive. Okay.
Oh yeah, we did. So I have found out that not only am I interviewing this amazing woman, advocacy author, all these great things. But I also found out that you are an extraordinary hugger. I was like, okay, well, you know, how did you? Are you self-proclaimed, or have people told you these things?
People definitely told me before I proclaimed it.
Okay, so you didn't just give yourself this title.
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no. Somebody else actually created it for me, and I said, you know what? I like that. I'll use it. I'll
I
use it.
actually really love that, and I think you should trademark that if it hasn't already been trademarked.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, let me
Because I
take
think the world,
notes.
I think I could see you having a lot of hug booths all over the world.
Yeah.
I think the world needs some hug festivals.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm really really excited to talk with you today. Um, for one of the main reasons why I wanted to speak with you, I don't know, can you hear me? Because it's echoing back.
Yes, I can hear you.
It's like, do you hear echo in the background?
I don't hear an echo. I hear something, but I don't hear an echo. Like I can hear you
Okay,
clear.
let me. I don't know if there is. Okay, that sounds a lot better. One of the main reasons I was excited to interview you is because when I Googled you originally, I couldn't find much about what you did outside of being an author. But when I started to look in depth about what you do in your journey over your career, the advocacy and things really stood out to me. So I really want to dig deep into those and talk about your work sanctuary, you know, who you are as a woman, as a Black queer woman, you know, just how you're represented, how you're representing others. So I really want to dig deep into that. So guys, let me give you the proper introduction. This is Charity J. I'm Topanga Vonti. This is an authentic lover, a space holder, someone who is not only a Black lesbian, but an advocate and dedicated to helping Black queer women reclaim their softness, embody healing. Her work is a sanctuary for self love, in my opinion, emotional safety, and honest expression. And that is my perspective of who you are. Currently, you're, you know, in the midst of owning who you are and how
Yeah.
you transformed, how you come about pulling other people along the way, unfolding that journey, living in that invitation for other people to come and be themselves too,
Yeah.
from helping people with dating and coaching and speaking, as a poet, as a writer, as a hugger.
Yeah.
Charity J, how did you become this person?
Oh my God. Through a lot of work. I put a lot of effort and energy into becoming who I am today. I started off kind of like, well, I won't say everybody else, but like a lot of people going into corporate America. And I've spent so much time in that space in such white and capitalistic spaces that I wanted to be closer to the individuals who look like me and feel like me. And in that, and I feel really good when I'm around Black women, just as a whole. It doesn't matter, queer, whatever your sexual orientation, anything like that. And so, being in those spaces and feeling good, I said, this is where the bulk of my time needs to be. I can't spend all of my time in spaces that don't look like me, that don't reflect me. And in that, it was just so many people that would ask me for advice or, tell me, it feels really good when I'm with you, when I'm near you. And I said, in learning and hearing those things, I was like, I have to get better and dig deeper, and so that I can offer this to our community. And that's how I came to be with my writing. I started with film. I have a degree in mass communications, and so just using those things to be able to reach more of our people and help and hug and love. So that's why you see things like Cuddle Sage. I do a lot, a Cuddle Sage. I'm a arosomatic touch practitioner right now. I'm learning in that space. And so you see, I have a tech background too. Just any way that I can reach our group and have a positive effect on us, and working with us and supporting our healing journeys, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
And in that journey, when did you realize, like, hold on, this is a lot of responsibility. Like, I am a safe place for people. I'm a safe haven. I have to take this serious, lock in, and really execute because people are looking to me for this. I am an anchor now because that could be a lot of pressure. That could be a lot of pressure. And Black women already have enough pressure. Queer women already have enough pressure. So
Yes.
when did you realize, hold on, okay, this is not a hobby. This is something I really need to dig deep into and show up for these people because they're counting on me?
That was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago when I had to tell people, like, y'all asking a lot of me. Y'all gonna have to start paying me. And I said it in a joking way. And they were like, okay, well, how much you want? And I was like, oh, this is real. Okay, let's do it. And so at that point, I was like, I can't just keep, giving out advice. I had to take this seriously. And so I had to start going through my own journey of healing, learning tools like meditation, things that we could actually use and do to give to other individuals, right? Breath work, movement, just kind of leaning more into pleasure and desirability versus just thinking about our relationships and just being with another person. And that's when I got to the biggest space of being with yourself first, focusing on self love. And that's when we start moving into that softness and that sovereignty,
Mhm,
things of that
mhm.
nature, because we start with the self. We start with loving on ourselves, and then we can move through to liberation, and then get into how we want to have relationships and dating with other people.
True intimacy that's not
Yeah.
sexual.
Yes, yes. The platonic touch, the erotic touch, and eros, and not just sexual. Understanding that our erotic shows up in everywhere we are and everything that we do. And so embodying those things, going and finding the healers who are already in that space and speaking with them and learning from them was so important for me.
It's so important. It's so important. Ooh, that right there is exactly why this conversation matters and why Swag Her has you here. The fact that you were called to do this work that you didn't even know you were being prepared to do. That's the
Correct.
power of it. You're showing up, you're building a sanctuary, whether it's through touch or tech, storytelling, you're creating real intentional spaces where people can show up and be themselves and honoring that. And I think that sometimes we get pushed in a direction we don't see coming, but we've been doing the work all along. We had no
Yeah.
idea. We were,
Right.
you were being prepared for this calling the whole time. I mean,
Yeah.
what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, that's so true. It took a lot of time to start understanding that aspect. My apologies. But it took a lot of time for me to start understanding that aspect. But I think once I grabbed it, once I grasped it, it just changed the game. It changed the way that I showed up for other people. I'm much more compassionate now. I have a lot more grace now,
Oh,
and I love more
grace.
openly. Yeah, yeah. But I had to
Oh,
learn to, like, first extend that to myself. You know what I mean? And then once I was able to do that, like, I'm able to give it to others, be vulnerable, give it to others. Yeah.
yeah. When we talk about grace in entrepreneurship, in the lane of work, in the lane of work you're in entrepreneurship, in this free space you are, grace is so important, not only for others, but for yourself.
Yeah.
How's that journey been in this line of work?
Oh, I used to be the number one judge. Okay, I judged myself.
Oh, you were the prosecutor, the judge, the attorney,
I
everything.
listen. That was me. Like no, and I was a stickler for like honesty. Everything is like truth, and the thing is, somebody can have one truth today, and that truth be completely different tomorrow. If we're being authentic with ourselves, that's going to show up a whole lot of different ways. And so I had to really go through a journey of having grace for myself, being patient with myself, understanding that we are all human. And that's when I started realizing how much the human aspect is taken from the Black woman in our society, and how much it's genuinely a radical reclamation when we decide to come back to it. When we say I am, and we stand in that, we stand in our power, we stand in our worth. It's so
Yes.
different, right? And to do that for myself, I was like, we got to get this, we have to have it, we
And that
have.
light bulb just went off like, hold on. Let me
Yeah,
step let me step off the pedestal. Let me dig in this. Two things can be true.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
look at it from this point of view. Look at yeah. I feel like in your journey of who you are, in that journey of becoming who you are, grace was one thing that you needed in the line of work that you're about to go in.
yeah,
Also for yourself, because you're still learning and evolving. You know,
yeah,
the message you might have gave someone last year might not be the same message that represents your brand this year. So
100%.
I think people love growing with the brand. People love growing with the brand. They love the journey. I know people appreciate it, and they appreciate that type of transparency where they can show up authentically. So I think that's great that you went through that. Like, hold on, I used to be the judge and the jury, but now
Yeah,
I mean, like I
yeah,
understand that those things can all be true, and sometimes I think people can be so logical that they forget there's an emotional side to humanity. And
hmm,
in entrepreneurship, as a businesswoman, growing this brand, growing as a creative, you need to be able to understand that the logical and the emotional so that you can show up and do your job.
yeah.
As a Black queer woman, I must ask, softness is something that you talk about often. Do you feel like the softness is needs to be present as a queer woman, or do you think that there are boxes and stereotypes that masculine women have to show up as compared to feminine queer women, or do you think it's the whole as a queer person as a whole?
We can do this for an hour on this one.
I
Oh
just want
my
to know
God.
because I mean you talk about softness and
This flows honestly back into what you were just saying, as far as what you said a minute ago kind of leads into being within the body and being within ourselves. It's all about presence, and it's about taking off those performative things that we do. We curate this narrative about ourselves, and we present this person to other individuals. And the truth is, there is softness within all of us. The divine femininity is gonna have softness to it, right? I don't care if you are a masculine presenting woman. It does not matter to me if you're a femme. It doesn't matter how you define yourself outside of what's going on inside, right? And all of us, human beings, period. Look at children, right? We want softness. We want to be able to relax. I want to be able to cry when I feel like crying. I want to be able to say no without apologizing. I want to have my own answers to things and know that I can stand in that power and be okay with it. So softness, it is embodied in all of us if we settle in there and we start realizing and understanding who we are, and not the narrative that's been given to us. Strong Black woman, aggressive Black woman. We are so many things to
argumentative,
other people. Yes,
defensive,
yeah. It's all these
mad.
adjectives, but it's never just soft. Oh, someone has hurt her. It's always, what are you doing? Right? Can I just exist? You know? Can
I
I
feel
just
like
have my time for me?
I feel like Black men are told to be tough and hard, right? So
Hmm.
they have to be strong. Black women are told to be even stronger, right? So that's just for heterosexual people anyway, how they present. So I don't see why it would be any different in the queer community, whether you present masculine or feminine. There is a narrative that brown melanated skin has to show up a certain way. That
Yeah.
because we've been oppressed for so long and we've overcome so much that we just have to be strong. And,
Hmm.
and, and it creates a false narrative. And then, okay, we have to always show up strong. And then when we are strong, And we are these people that have overcome stuff. Now we're aggressive. We're a little bit too much. We need to tone it down. We need to. It's like you can't win. You cannot
Exactly.
win. You can't
Exactly.
win. You can't just exist. And the media plays a huge role in this. And,
Hmm.
and and I don't know if you noticed this in your journey as an entrepreneur because you're out here, you're putting your stuff out here to public. You have these social interactions. Your brand's going to grow. But if you look at society as a whole, the media plays a huge role in
Yep.
how we are presented.
Yep. Yep.
Black exploitation films back in the 70s. The
Yeah.
stereotypical characters where we'll put one token black person here, we'll put
Yep.
one token black girl on here, and the way they
Yep.
make these characters, even on reality shows, how they present us, especially in
Mhm.
like major white casts. So
Yep.
I feel like the media plays a huge role in it.
They
And,
do.
they expect us to show up this way. So I think it's important that we have more people that show up authentically and show no, we have layers. There's a
Yeah.
spectrum. We have layers.
Yep.
And I don't care how I present and how you perceive it. This is what I have to give. So you being
Yeah.
able to show up for people like that and keep pulling back those layers, that's all you can do in your line of work, Charity. That's all you can do. Be that safe place for softness.
And that's what makes it important for all of us to have coaches that look like us, to have therapists that look like us, because these are the individuals, right? Our therapist, my therapist was the one who got me to start doing this
Hmm.
few years ago. But these are the people who can tell us that society has decided you are this or you are that. We look at the films on TV, we see the narratives that are spent, and how we're glorified when we're dating a white person versus looking at ourselves and looking at each other. And that's no dig at interracial
Of
dating.
course.
It's the way that we're treated in those relationships in that media, right? The things that are popularized in our music, right? In our treatment of one another. And then those are the words that we go and take back within our communities in the ways that we talk to each other, right? And so when we talk about those multiple layers that we have, and we all carry them, then if we can't take off the facade, if we can't remove the outside, then we never get to truly be ourselves. So we can't even see our softness. We can't see our authenticity. And that means we never get to truly walk in our power. These things are simple, right? But it's taken from us, and we got to reclaim it.
So in coaching, in coaching, in touch, in practice, in the truth, in the connection that you find in people, what about their journey? What about in their truth are they most afraid to face?
Oh,
What have you seen that they're most afraid to face? Because if we're going to talk about that journey, that we got to talk about that. Like, what would it? Because the media plays such a role, because our
yeah.
environment plays such a role, our upbringing, our childhood. What are you seeing that is consistently happening? What are they afraid to face on that journey?
It's two things, and we kind of hit on one of them already, but it's the disdain, and the association with whiteness and disliking blackness. Um, and the second one I would say is the lack of self focus, inner focus, self love. Those two things tend to go hand in hand. It doesn't matter if we're talking about dating, it doesn't matter if we're talking about relationships, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about our healing. Those two are the main ones that we have to really get to the core of. And most of the women I work with have had to have some focus around.
Which one of these fears have you had to meet head on? Like, and maybe some of their work, you're like, ooh, that triggers something in me after our session. Hold on. I think I need to go talk to my therapist. I need to dig deep. But hold on, you just unlocked the fear I had locked up away. Has
Yeah.
that happened?
For me, it's definitely the self love aspect and the different ways that it shows up. The responsibility for myself, the having the standards and values versus having rules, and how I uphold my own boundaries. Sometimes having compassion and love for people, I might allow some things that I simply should not. And that is the main way that it's shown up for me when I'm talking to people and we're in a session, and I'm asking the question of why, and It could be, why did you allow this? Why would they say something like that to you? What are you putting out there? And it's forced me to focus on myself in the same way.
Mm. Have you ever had to step back from a session or remove yourself from someone because it didn't feel authentic? Or maybe a brand or
We get to
collab?
authenticity. We either get there or we don't work together. Because I'm not. I don't have time to waste, and it's unnecessary.
Or
We
maybe someone's not ready for that journey, you know?
yeah,
They don't mean any harm.
yeah. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but yeah, if we're
No, I'm
just
just,
here to talk, if we're just here to talk and we're just gonna hang out, that's fine. If you want to pay me just to hang out with me, just say that up front, though. Because this is two
they might
different
just want to
things.
hug.
You know. But and I'm very honest up front. Like, we are gonna get in some very uncomfortable spaces. There will be tears, there will be laugh, there will be reflection, but you have to be prepared for these things. And we can prepare together, but you have to be real. We got to get to the authentic space.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I feel like, and I don't mean to catch you off guard with some of in conversing and some of these questions, but some of the things you're saying just lead to the next question because I think I'm curious and others are curious to just know the space in which you work and building this brand. But let's take a little break. I'm Topanga, your media girl with Swag Her Magazine, and we're here with Charity J. For anyone that's just tuned in, this isn't just an interview. This is where Black women get to breathe, speak, and be as loud as they want. In all
Mhm.
the spaces in between, we have the amazing Charity J here. And this segment is called This or That on what's going on. So, what we're going to do, Charity, is we're going to have a little fun with this segment.
Uh-oh.
So,
Okay.
in this or that, you're going to choose on representation in media, pop culture, and community. No pressure.
Okay.
You know, who's watching besides the people out there. So, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Pose or the L word?
Oh, um, I guess since I don't know pose, I would have to go with the L word. Don't
Okay.
judge me.
Okay. And,
Don't
and,
judge-
and, and, and my, as a fan of the L word, we're Black women and Black queer community represented.
No.
I think Black women were represented kind of, you know, the main
Yeah,
character, Kit, but I don't think Black queer community was represented at all.
no. And we don't see a lot of Black queer representation. That's why a lot of these. I don't know what pose is, but this may be
Well,
why.
no, no. Pose is Black queer, Black
Okay, so that's
drag,
what I need to
trans,
see.
but that's not Black women. There's no space for Black.
Uh,
There are no Black
okay.
women queer spaces because even if you go back to like, you know, I'm an older girl, a little older, a little seasoned, couple miles. You know, you got Noah's Ark back in the day. See,
Yeah.
you too young for Noah's Ark. You don't remember
Yeah.
that.
I was like, yeah, no, no.
But you know, they had different shows with Black queer men, but none. There's never been representation for Black queer women.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why I
so,
started writing too. I did a mini film, and I've acted in another one for another group we won't talk about right now. But
oh no, we
it's
will.
that
I have it
representation
listed.
is missing for us, and I'm not okay with it. So I was like, let's do something about it. We'll create our own.
Yeah, let's do something about it for real. Soft. Okay, so soft life narratives versus resilient queen.
I'm definitely going soft life all day. The
I'm
resilience
so
is there. It's
I'm
already built in. We have
I'm
it. And,
I'm so sick of us having to be the ride or dies or the struggle of or
uh,
did you get to see the new Netflix series Forever?
yes, I loved it. I absolutely loved
One of my biggest issues with Forever is that why can't we just have good love stories and fairy tales? Like
it. I thought the
why are
parent did
people
though.
the
The
parents were
parent,
great. The parents
yeah.
were amazing. Like no, like why does he have to get pulled over by a police officer? No, he doesn't.
Oh, yeah,
Why do y'all want them to break up so? No, they're going through regular teenage ups and downs.
yeah,
Y'all can have Boy Meets World, Corey and Topanga. Y'all can have so many love stories, Dawson Creek, all these things growing up in the 90s, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But for some reason, people, especially African Americans, are in the comments. They're this, no, this is too boring. No, this is this. No, because y'all is
mhm,
used to struggle love. It got to
Yeah,
be some type of struggle story. It has to have a bad ending. No, no, no. The dad doesn't end up on drugs. No, they don't get
right.
evicted. No,
Exactly.
no,
Exactly.
no, no. We actually can have a soft life. We actually can go to Martha's Vineyard. We actually can enjoy the summers in our summer home. You know, like these things actually happen and exist in these spaces. So I'm with you on that soft life. Okay, so when it comes to being a writer, producer, or author, are you an indie girl or are you a mainstream girl? When it comes to where you want your work to be, so it can be told authentically and no one can mess with your body of work, are you more in the indie space or do you think you want to go mainstream with it to touch more people?
I'm gonna go where I'm led. To be honest with you, and at this time, of course, it's indie for sure. Though I have no problem with mainstream, but I'll still control my narrative. Period. I will not be in a space. That's a part of why I've stepped away from corporate America as much as possible, because there's just it's not going to be a space where somebody controls what I offer to us. It's going to always be authentic. I will collaborate. I will definitely seek advisors, but no, we won't be controlled. So I'll do both. I'll do it anywhere, but it won't be controlled. Our narrative will be real and it'll be ours.
I love it. So, scripted drama or reality docu series? Pick if you had to pick between this or that. What are
Uh,
you? What do you gravitate towards more?
when I'm in writing mode, it's definitely scripted, but reality when I'm in acting mode.
Okay,
I don't
okay,
like being
okay,
told what to do. Let me write the script. You should have done this.
okay. We have two more. Love Jones or Moonlight?
Oh, probably Love Jones. I go Love Jones.
Okay, okay, okay. So you're a little hopeless romantic. You're a little softy for
Yeah,
real.
I am. I am. That's true.
Okay, and then being seen or being understood as a creative.
Mm. I guess I want to say understood, but I feel like if you see me, you will understand. So uh, we'll go with understood, though. The understanding is most important for the people who see anything that I do. The understanding is most important.
So you're more of like a Janae Monet than a Tabitha Brown.
For sure. But I
Got it,
love
got it.
Tabitha. Don't get it
No,
twisted.
I love both. I love both. I love
Yeah.
both.
Yeah, but definitely, yeah. Ah, you're all the way out. Like your volume went out right there.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. No, no, I can't again. Jeez.
Okay, how am I? Am I there now? Can y'all hear me?
Oh no, it sounds weird. It's giving feedback, but now it's like,
It's my first time on the platform, so I'm not
oh,
here.
okay, that was it. I could hear you then.
I hear it.
We on hold right now. A little bit. I just pulled up the chat so I can see the comments. You got an amen. You still a little staticky. Now it's giving feedback. It was having a whole talk for me. Okay, we can see you again, and you're muted.
I hear feedback. Hello.
Okay, we can hear you.
I hear you. Is it when I talk or when we both talk?
It's when you talk. Maybe if I mute, let's see what happens. It sounds clear. It sounded clearer when I muted. So I'm gonna when I mute, you say something. And let me see if I can hear you well.
Hey guys, it's your girl Topanga Vontae, and I'm here with the beautiful Charity J. Okay, I'm gonna mute now.
Okay, so yeah, let me see if I can do your thing. Hey guys, this is Charity, and I'm here with the beautiful Topanga, and it worked.
It's no feedback when you talk,
Okay, that worked. I can hear you now. It's no feedback now.
but it was feedback when you were talking. Is it feedback now?
No, 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 no.
Okay. Okay, so what I was saying, guys, is I asked if she was more of a Tabitha Brown or Janelle Monae because some people want to be heard, some people want to be. They're both amazing women, and I love them both. So now that we paid a little bit, what's one way you personally love to see Black queer women represented truthfully in the media?
One way I like to see us represented. Mm, I think in an art form that is authentic to that person. Like I like to see black women doing what they love to do. So if it's acting, if it's speaking, if it's playing tennis, I just like to see us smile and be happy. Um, that's my favorite thing.
Me too. I'm on that. I'm in that same space. And speaking of spaces, we're gonna get back to the questions. You move between many spaces, from poetry to tech to coaching. How do
Yeah.
these worlds weave together in your work of creating healing, both sensual and strategic?
Yeah, so with my writing, with poetry and my other forms of writing, that gives me the space for the words. I would say tech, being in tech for so long, has given me that systems and resilience, and not just systems like the software, but also the systems as far as the system of corporate America. You know, and putting those two together, and I would say when it comes to things like the cuddle sage, that's led me to touch and that understanding that the body doesn't lie. You know, all we have to do is listen to her. She will tell us exactly what she needs, what she wants. And when it comes to the coaching, just the speaking aspect, you know, just being able to have the words to support and hold somebody else in their own healing journey, just putting those things together have allowed me to really be able to attract and be with the right type of women who want to go through these processes with me. You're muted now. You're actually muted. So
The process is so important and trusting the process.
yeah,
How's that been?
trusting the process is the hardest thing for me. when it
I'm
came to,
so no, wait, hold on. I'm so happy that you were honest in that reply. Cause some people
oh
get up here and they'll give you the cookie cutter PR answer, and you're like, you know what? You just shook your head. Like,
nah, I can't lie to you.
talk to us, talk to us. What's going on? Tell us
Trust
what
has
happened.
been the hardest thing for me in nearly all aspects of everything. If you want to talk about my writing, any of those things I just listed, trust is the hardest thing. And so coming over here and being able, having to like trust people and listen to people, but really this is the biggest reflection of not trusting myself in a lot of ways, you know? When I hear my intuition, not allowing it to lead me sometimes. And so getting back to that space was so important. But trust in the process is the hardest thing. Things aren't going the way I expect, things aren't going the way I desire, or sometimes you just have to deviate, right? And I've been really good about going over and around obstacles, and now I've just gotten really great at going through them. And so that's how I had to grow in that trust space. But trust for me, that was probably most difficult thing, trusting that process.
Well, at least you're being honest. I mean, at least you're being honest because now, you know what, I ain't gonna dig there because trust. And now, when it comes to trust, there's levels of trust. Do you
Hold on. Hold on. It's going out
do you
again. You sound like a robot now.
say it
Can
again?
you hear me? Okay, yeah, I can hear you. It's like whenever you sit it, something it's
The
like,
whole time that you're talking, I am having static, but I'm hearing through the static.
oh my God. Okay. All right. So yeah, I heard you say I'm hearing you through static. Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yep, I can.
So I love that you were honest about that and telling people to trust the process because trust has layers as well. And we reserve a lot of spaces, whether it be imposter syndrome, trauma, things like that. So they definitely show up in our work because we're human and we have feelings and emotions. So I have another question for you. Tell us what you're most looking forward to about this upcoming Black Queers Women's Conference? Because I think that people don't know the end goal and what you have going on. So for the people that don't know the special treat that you have for everyone, the Black Queer Women's Conference, tell them what it is and tell them what you're most looking forward to.
The Black Queer Women's Conference was created by LaJoya Johnson. I want to say that's her last name, but don't quote me if I'm incorrect. But this conference is one that really supports our community. It's something that we haven't had, but we need it. And there are just so many things that are going to be there. Last year I didn't talk about, but we talked about domestic violence. We had an amazing therapist there that was giving really great hints on like your trauma and things that we go through as we start journeys like these and others. There was a space for us to just commune and listen to other queer women talk about parenting and the struggles there. It was so much valuable information and key takeaways. And this year, we're adding the aspect of financial intelligence, and so all of these different things that we don't see just geared specifically towards queer women is the thing that's most exciting for me. In this space, I will be talking about healthy relationships. Last year, I went on for a very long time about self-love because most of the women that I was working with, that was the issue. You asked me, what's the main thing that I see? And it was that focusing on the self. We stay worried about somebody else. Like, take a minute and look at you. And so that's what we talked about last year. This year is going to be a little bit of a treat. It's going to be a little different. I haven't told anybody what we're going to talk about, and I'm not going to tell y'all. So you got to show up. That means you have to be there to know. But this year I will be. Wait, say it again.
But you're keeping secrets?
I am. I am. But I think that is going to be so enjoyable because we'll be in a different space. But this conference is one that is for lack of better words made for us by us, and we speak to a lot of the things that we need to hear about in our community. And so this is my conversations. There are specific to Black lesbians and queer women, and these topics can range from sex to love to trust to peace, all of that. And so conference is very important for everyone.
So we have a few quarters. We have what, 2 quarters left of 2025? What what has to happen for you? What has to occur? What do you have to make sure you accomplish in 2025 representing Black queer women, representing Black queer authors, representing Black queer women in tech? What is something, a message that you have to convey and that you want to make sure that you plant that seed? What is important to you to accomplish?
My message for all Black women, and especially for queer women, for lesbians, for masculine women, or women who walk firmly in your masculinity, or a solid blend of the both, like myself. My message for all of us is that you are worthy and you are powerful. Um, if you take nothing else away, those are the main things I want you to remember. We have resilience, we have strength, and we have nurture, and we have care. And a lot of those things still tend to be outside. And what I want to tell you is that inside of you is where the power exists, it is not outside of you. And if you don't remember anything else, you keep that and you hold that and see how it resonates and how it sits with you in your bones and in your presence of everything that you do today and throughout the remainder of this year.
And I think the resilience is the biggest thing for me, especially for masculine women. Is I do think there's a double standard. I do think that masculine presenting queer women have a different journey than feminine queer women. I think they are very oppressed. I think that they are disrespected. I think, but well, black women in general are disrespected, but I think that masculine black queer women are disrespected. They looked over.
Mm-hmm.
They are constantly under attack. I
Mm-hmm.
think they're because they're not a fetish for so many people and so many groups
Yep.
that they're always having to protect themselves and defend themselves and protect their partners and set boundaries and dress a certain way and in the media show up a certain way and not be to this, not be to that. They're always on eggshells. And that's something that I personally hope changes in 2025 and moving forward in the future for Black queer women, specifically masculine women. Because
Yeah.
I will be honest, I have seen the way the media and in real life portrays feminine Black queer women.
Yeah.
And anyone that disagrees with that is purposely not trying to see what is happening, even from job interviews to
Yeah.
how they dress at the company,
Yep.
to them adopting children, to them raising children of their own, even wanting to birth their own children.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
We cannot turn a blind eye to this. It is 2025 and we need to start being honest.
Right.
There's definitely discrimination within that ecosystem, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
by the same people that are in that ecosystem.
Exactly, exactly. And then a lot of masculine women carry that. We carry that within ourselves and think that we have to continue to perpetuate these narratives, these heteronormatives. And it's like that became a buzzword in the community, but nobody decided to do anything about it. Like you hear it, but then we don't decide to change it, And to your point, like even the fetishes and where we start realizing these things, but you're still wanting to engage in these relationships in these spaces. It's like that's when I talk about that self love and the inner focus. That is where those things matter most. Just because they've said this, or just because you have men who will dislike you just because of how you look and how you just move, how you walk. When you are literally walking in your power, just because you are confident, we have to be aware of that. And it's not for fighting; it's just for knowing who you are. Their issue is theirs. It is not yours to own it. And once I got to a point of that, once I realized that was happening, articulated it, then you could do something about it, right? And I appreciate you saying that for the women who are watching, who fit into this category. But once you say it, once you can acknowledge it, then you can do something differently. You can decide that is not me, and what they have going on is not your business. But it is an interesting thing, especially when you go to different countries. I just talked about being in South Africa, and on the surface, we're very accepted, right? It's all fine, it's okay. But then when you get in those direct interactions with those black men, you see, you feel, you understand, what's happening, right? And being completely aware, you know, it's a different level and a different way you have to protect yourself. It's not the same as even being here where we have to do a lot of protection here, right? And so just in walking in that space and knowing my worthiness, knowing my power, it changed the game for me in those interactions. I don't have to meet you with that hostility. I'm not even in the space in which I know where we are for real. So I don't have to meet you that way, but I'm not weak,
Charity?
and I won't pretend to be. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
said I'm not even in those spaces.
Oh yeah, when I'm in those spaces, just knowing, being able to feel and know that I'm not weak and I don't have to pretend to be, but I also don't have to jump into these types of situations with other individuals because that's who they've decided to be.
And for anyone that's just tuned in, I just want to go back over this talking point. I waited to the end to bring up this talking point because I wanted to make sure that people were able to really understand. Charity is an advocate. She is our ally. She is a part of this community. She is strategic. She is embracing softness, resilience, love, all those things. But what I need people to understand is that women that present like Charity are targeted. Their hashtags aren't everywhere. There are
Mm-hmm.
barely news reports about them. Their stories barely get told.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about hate crimes within the gay community, and there's usually white men,
Yep.
trans white, trans women to men, trans men to women. Don't get talked about. We don't talk about masculine black queers. We don't really talk about black queers in general.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to understand that when you're talking about a woman that is representing the black female queer community, you're talking about people that are gay, that are bisexual. They could be under any queer thing. They could be pansexual,
Yeah.
fluid, anything. You're talking about women that are just existing in their
Yeah.
own identity, how they show up, being targeted for just walking down the street
Yes.
because a man's ego, whether it be a black man or a white man, Asian man, their ego is
Yep.
at liberty and at stake. And they feel like they have to make sure they put them in their place or
Exactly.
remove them sometimes.
Yeah.
Or they have a fetish for them secretly and they desire them. And when they're
Yes.
rejected, they want to harm them. Or they see them with women that they desire and they don't have access to those women. So now it's a problem that needs to be. I mean, we can. I mean, there's so many layers we can pull back, but I think that people don't understand this is a community within a community that is not protected,
Yeah.
that it has been physically harmed, who have been
Mm-hmm.
unalived, and we
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about, we want to share these couples on Instagram and TikTok and follow them and go on Pinterest. It's all cute when it's an aesthetic. But let's
Yeah.
get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get
Yep.
down to the nitty gritty. It's
Yeah.
cute when it's a
Yeah.
character on Love and Hip Hop and Mimi's
Mm-hmm.
playing into it and she's with Ty. It's all cute.
Yeah.
Studs, studs, Juicy talking about it. It's cool when the media's laughing. Oh, I like a stud. I like a stud. But let's talk about the nitty gritty. When they want to have children, when they want to
Yep.
start families,
Yeah.
these are people that are targeted. Agencies giving them a hard time when they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
adopt a kid. They're having a hard time finding doulas and midwives. Hospitals turning their noses up at them, making them uncomfortable with
Yep.
appointments. Child services being called. We keep going. So there's a lot of work to do in 2025 and even more to do in 2026. So
Yeah.
that's why it's so important for people like Charities. It's so important for her platform. It's so important. It's so important. I hope that, you keep telling these stories and keep showing up and making sure that people know because they're
Yeah.
forgotten and they're looked over.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. You were hitting a lot of good points. I hope they were coming through on the other side. It was going in and
Oh, I
out.
know they're gonna watch this back, and that's why I knew that was heavy, and that's why I saved it for the end because I don't think people understand that this is a community, or they don't care, or they're overlooking it
Yeah.
that has been disrespected,
Yeah.
and it needs to have light shed on it because the news isn't gonna tell these stories. It's we
Yeah.
have to,
We do
you know.
because there's so many. Even when you're dating, you're in relationships. That makes it harder. When if I'm dating somebody who doesn't have that basic understanding, I can't date them. Me personally, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't. It's just that we do need to talk about it more. It does need to be more education around that so that we're not running into that issue. Because if you're having it on the outside and then you're in a relationship with somebody who doesn't understand it, and then you're having it there too, that's not safety for me. I can't do it.
Charity, let's be honest. Let's get to the nitty gritty in this conversation. And guys, this is for everyone out there. Y'all can comment in below. We're going to get to the nitty gritty. That's like being in a relationship, in a racial relationship. It's like
Yep.
a woman fetishizing black men, right? That's what she
Hmm.
wants. And then having mixed children, but being like, I don't see color. Race
Yeah.
isn't everything. But
Wow.
we're not even fundamentally on the same level if you don't understand that. So
Yep.
if you're going to be a straight woman, but you
Yep.
have a thing for studs, masculine
Mhm.
women, but you're going to
Mhm.
pretend like there's not a safety risk, that they're
Yep.
not oppressed, that they're not
Mhm.
disrespected, we're
Mhm.
fundamentally not even on the same level.
Yep.
We
Yep.
cannot fundamentally have a conversation. And if
Yeah.
society and the world and the media wants to pretend like these aren't happening, we're
Mm.
not even aligned. So I'm
Yep.
going to tell these stories, and Charity's going to tell these stories. She's going to show up. So guys, go to that Black Queer conference because
Yeah.
these are the kind of conversations that are going to have happen, and they need to be had.
Yeah.
And I hope that that message gets put out there, and I hope that you continue to spread that message because again, they love when it's an aesthetic, when it's a
Yeah.
TikTok family.
Yep. Yep.
You know, they it's a poly, it's a queer Black poly. They love that. That's their new fetish.
Yep. Yep. It is. Yep. And when you don't fit into it, it makes it even tougher for a lot of people. You know, I've seen that in relationships where the feminine woman has decided that she now wants to be poly, and as masculine woman is like, okay, what does that mean? And the ways that disrespect and those underlying those things still kind of come into those conversations. And it's tough. It is tough. It's hard to watch, and it's even harder to talk to people about, especially when they're just not open to listening. Even if you take it back to a race thing, it's kind of like people saying, well, I mean, I have a Black friend. Okay, well, we're together, so if they disrespect you, then I would know because it would be like disrespecting me. That's not the answer. That is not the answer.
My mom hired a guy named Jamal. I'm not racist. I have a friend named Rashid.
Come on,
My niece
man.
is half Black.
Right. Yeah.
No.
And what? Yeah. No.
No,
Yeah.
no. I think that we have to have these conversations, even if they're heavy, even if they're uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
I know that within your brand, you're going to keep doing that. That's why I love companies like Swag Her because we're telling the real stories of Black women, all Black women, not some Black women, all Black women.
Mhm.
Swag Her is a safe
Mhm.
place for all Black women. You know, straight,
Yeah.
queer,
Yeah.
Black women's stories being told, their brands, their businesses, and as creatives and their path. And I want everyone to know that Swagger is a safe place for all creatives to come up and tell their story and talk about their story. I mean, having Charity here is a topic that needs to be told. You know, yes, she's a safe holder. Yes, she's an authentic lover, but she's also an advocate. And she's
Yeah.
also shedding light on things and she's transforming lives. But also, we had these heavy conversations where there is a group of people that are discriminated against, and we need to shed light on it. So thank you, Cherry, for this heartfelt conversation at Swagger Magazine. Because what's going on? Like, what's really going on? This is what's really going on.
It is. It
So,
is.
from your
Yeah.
journey as a poet, an author, coach, and your mission of bringing love back to the table,
Yeah.
we're also bringing awareness to the table as well.
Yeah. That part. I love it. Yeah. And
No,
I have people holding space for me who definitely have these conversations. And so I appreciate you bringing that up, and I appreciate you holding that space.
of course, it's important for Swagger to make sure that people are seen and felt. And I hope people felt that. And I hope people feel this. And I hope they screen record it and they share and they save. And I hope that this inspires you to bring these topics up on more platforms and more podcasts and continue this conversation or panels at the conference. So we're going to wrap up this episode of What's Going On. And thank you for showing up,
Of
tapping
course.
in, holding a space for us and with us. And this isn't just a conversation, this is community. So stay bold, stay soft, stay curious, keep hugging. Charity wants you to keep hugging.
Yeah.
I'm Topanga, and this is Swagger Magazine. What's going on segment where we speak our truth and speak with others about what's really going on. Charity, how can everybody find you?
The Charity J on Instagram, and we'll stick with that. I've taken down a lot of my social media, so I'll get that back
No,
up.
but you have to. You have to. It's too private. We can't even communicate.
It's too private. It's
Yeah,
private.
you
I
need.
didn't
It's
know
private.
that. Okay, I'll open that up. Yeah.
And we need a headshot. We need a headshot profile picture because they need to
Okay.
know. They need to know
You
what they're
sound
getting
you
into.
sound like my you sound like my coach. Like, come on, give
I'm
me
a
something.
publicist, so please excuse me.
Oh, okay. I got it now. This makes sense. Okay, that's how you found me. I
No,
got
the
it.
people need to know. They need to know the greatness that they're stepping into when they're in a space with you. That's why Swagger
Yeah,
has you here.
yeah, I got you.
Guys, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all heard where to find her at. Guys, this interview will be up on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Please tune in and tap in because we have a gem at the end of this video that you guys do not want to miss. And we're talking about the truth and we're being authentic and raw. This was a real conversation when we let it flow and we talked about this amazing woman, Charity J. So, guys, thank you. Swag Her Magazine. Thank you, Charity.
Thanks, Topanga. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.